Okay, before the episode starts, I'd like to apologize for the audio. These are not editing mistakes, these are microphone errors, technical difficulties. A lot of the stuff I couldn't redo because I did it 2-minute takes, so a lot of them was just out of the question of re-recording my voice, so I apologize. If there are pops, that is not an editing mistake, that is a microphone error, so thanks. Hello, welcome back to the Triple Stick Shooter Podcast, Episode 3. A twice-a-week independent podcast talking about whatever the hell I feel like talking about. My name is Chris. This time around, we will be discussing Persona 4, The Golden Animation, Episode 8, Conception 2 for the 3DS, my fantasy draft, which hopefully will go well, happens in 2 hours, the magic of editing, pretentious Canadian music, and WWE NXT. Thank you for supporting the show, and a special thanks for Cody for letting me draft off-site. You're the best, man. Alright, let's start off with Persona 4 Episode 8. Alright, so now that the Persona 4 Scooby Gang has defeated the villain, filler time, you know what I'm talking about. Fan service. And this was fan service. Basic outline, it's Christmas Eve, and you asked all the girls to spend time with him. The problem is, he doesn't let them know that it's just a party for the investigation team. Each girl thinks it's a date with him because he asks them out one by one, which is not a good idea, because the Persona 4 girls are psycho. And my favorite part about this particular element of the episode is that Chie, Yukiko, and Naoto are contemplating whether it really is going to be a date, finally convincing themselves that it is indeed going to be a date, while Rise, right off the bat, just knows it's going to be a date because she is a word that rhymes with but. It starts with S. Hey, that's the game talking, not me. And I'll be honest, at first I thought he was going to be two-timing them, because in the game, you can date them all at the same time. And I won't give anything away, because I wonder if it's going to be in the Valentine's episode, but there's a certain element in the game which condemns you for dating more than one person at a time, which is amazing. Pretty much this episode is hilarity and chaos ensues. Yu is trying to do all the cooking for the Christmas party, and the girls decide to show up early because reasons. Actually, they give a reason for Naoto, which is amazing. She thinks everyone is out to murder her, which is freaking hilarious and adorable at the same time, because she catches Yukiko with a knife, and it just goes from there. She makes up this conspiracy in her mind that everyone is going to try to murder her. And the scene that she discovers after all the chaos happens, pretty much everyone, all the girls, end up in the kitchen. And another girl, whose name is Ebby, who is actually called to help you. She's not on a date, she's just there for help. Everyone is splattered with tomatoes and conscious on the ground, and Naoto comes in, and not a good sign for her. So I forgot to mention, she's dressed up in police riot gear as she is witnessing this because she has to protect herself from the murderers. And Yu walks in with a knife, and she freaks out about it, and then the girls who are unconscious on the ground start to stand up like they were zombies. And oh man, poor Naoto. She has no idea what to expect. Yeah. At least she has riot gear protecting her, so, Remember, kids, bring your riot gear when you help your friends cook for Christmas. Protection always helps. This has been a PSA brought to you by the Triple Stick Shooter Podcast. If I don't warn you, is anyone else really going to do it for you? You're welcome, world. And the thing I absolutely love about this scene is the lighting goes from normal to David Fincher type lighting. Think real dark, shadowy, like the movie Seven. A grisly crime scene. It is so funny and morbid at the same time. So the next day, when everything gets straightened out and they have the real Christmas party, they're sitting at the Japanese style table. I completely forget, I apologize what it's called. You know, they're sitting down, not on chairs but on the ground, and all the girls are kicking you, which I think is unfair because they assume they were on a date. Those ladies be crazy, yo. Except Naoto, she gets a pass. She thought she was being murdered. That always gets a pass. Remember, if you think you're being murdered, you're allowed to be as crazy as possible without consequence. So kick as many people as you want. And I don't even realize the kicker to this episode until the end. Marie is not featured at all, even though this is technically her show. She's second protagonist to you. And it's one of the most heartbreaking scenes in Persona. I'm not going to say all time, but definitely Persona. Is they show you trying to remember Marie, but then she herself, her spirit I guess, fades away telling him to let go, which is sad. Can't wait for next week's episode. This one gets 2 big thumbs up. Batista thumbs up. Good episode. Great episode. Real quick preview of next week's episode. It looks like it's going to be the ski trip, which was added for the Vita ports. And I've watched it, and it's great. So I want to see how they play it out. Because each supporting character gets their own scenario, depending on who you get lost with. Alright, moving on from that. Conception 2 for 3DS. I've been playing, I got about 8 hours into it, and I finally hit the point where the game doesn't really change at all. It's just going to be a dungeon crawler / dating simulator for the rest of the probably 30 to 35 hours I have left on this game, which isn't a bad thing. I like the combat. One of the best things about the combat is easy level grinding. When there's weak enemies, you go straight through them. You don't go through a battle scene. You hit their character in the labyrinth, and they die, and you get the experience, which is great, because the star children that you make automatically start at level 1, which is annoying, having to do that over and over and over again. So going to the weaker labyrinths and just cruising through, not even having a battle screen, just going through enemies, mowing them down, is a great feature. The one thing that's annoying me about this game is the level design is completely lazy. Each labyrinth has its own color scheme, but each one has about 7 to 8 levels, and you're going through those 7 to 8 levels for a few hours at a time. And each one looks the same, it has the same color scheme, it gets completely bland after you've been there long enough. And not only that, the enemy variety is ridiculously low. I've been facing the same freaking horses for the past 3 hours. I might get another one, I think it's a robot. I'm going to assume it's a robot, you're going to assume it's a robot. It's a robot. And I get one of those maybe once every 20 minutes, but other than that I have to face the freaking horses, which just gets irritating having to face the same thing over and over and over again. So it gets stalked for that. It's a JRPG, you know what you're getting into. I give it 1 Batista thumb up. I like the dungeon crawling aspect. It doesn't make it too difficult or too punishing. And the dialogue is absolutely horrendously beautiful. I can tell it's done on purpose and it's just horrible, but you can laugh at it. It's not stupid. No, it is stupid, but you still laugh at it. So, if you like dungeon crawlers / dating sims, honestly get Persona, it's better. But if you happen to get Conception 2 for free, it's worth your time. I paid $20 for it, so I don't regret it. But Persona is better. So yeah. Alright, keeping with the video game theme for right now. This isn't going to be a review, just a preview. I've been playing the game Remember Me on PS3. I got it through PS3 Plus program. I finally got around to downloading it because I didn't have anything else to really play. And it's not giving away too much. I'm liking it. I played about 2 hours. I I think it's only a 6 to 8 hour game, so I'll have it finished and a real in-depth review ready for next week. So be ready for that. Alright, so moving on from that, let's go to some music. The first track you heard at the top of the broadcast was Nancy and the Girdle Boy by post-rockers Casey Accidental, off of their debut EP, Captured Anthems for an Empty Tub, released all the way back in good old 1998. Now, I said EP, but the thing is 40 minutes long, so it is pretty much a full-length album. I really like it. The first 3 tracks are rockin'. The 2 that come after Nancy and the Girdle Boy are called Something for Chicago and Anorexic He-Man, and both, I like them a lot. Those are my 3 favorite tracks off the EP. And then the back 3 are more ambient mellowness to them, not really as rockin', which is fine. Really good for chillin' or when you want some rockin' music without lyrics. The band would go on to release another EP called Anthems of the Good Have Been Pills, which when combined with its predecessor makes one full-length LP. The band would then go on to rebrand themselves as Social Broken Scene. It's pretty much the indie pop rock equivalent of the new Yardbirds turning into Led Zeppelin, so yeah. There's your music history lesson for the day, kids. I'll be honest, I haven't given the second EP adequate time. The first one, Captured Anthems for an Empty Tub, really great. I love it, especially those first 3 tracks. The back 3, they're more mellow, so I get what it's doing, and I still like them, but those first 3, absolutely love. Go check it out. I give it 1.5 Batista thumbs. I have also been listening to a lot of the Casket Girls, an indie band from the South. I got their newest album, True Love Kills the Fairy Tale, on cassette tape, and I am loving it. It's like a throwback to 80s synth done in a great way. I've listened to a lot of indie synth pop recently, and it's great in its own modern way, but this one really gives it that 80s feel. My favorite tracks are Ashes and Embers and the title track. I like how some of the tracks are not refined too heavily. One negative with synth pop can be that the music itself sounds too polished, like they put too much effort into making it sound refined. Many of them honestly sound like it's been auto-tuned, and I appreciate that this album sounds scratchy and raw, almost like they're playing it live, which I imagine what I hear on the album is real close to how they would sound in concert. I've been loving synth pop a lot recently, and I give this album 1.5 Batista thumbs. Check it out. You can buy it on greyfacerecords.com. Okay, so I just finished fantasy football draft right now, and I am very pleased with my results. I got Megatron, Brandon Marshall, and Drew Brees in the first 3 rounds, much to the chagrin of Cody Cunningham, who gets big props for sending me every single freaking text. That is a chore and sounds very annoying. So, yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Frank Gore, Greg Olson, Marin Jones-Drew, Marquise Colston, Joe K. Bell, Seahawks defense, Stephen Hauschka, boom. I even took a chance on Zach Ertz. I don't know who that is, but he has a cool name. Russell Wilson, just in case, probably for a bye week. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy. Bobby Rainey, who knows, he could have a big year. So, suck it. I got the greatest fantasy draft team ever. So, if you think you have a better team, throw them down in the comments. We'll compare it. It probably won't be as good as my team, but hey, maybe, who knows. Probably not. My team's the best, and we will win the championship, because we are going to be the champions. Boom. So I rate fantasy football 2 big Batista thumbs up. I definitely recommend it. It's like XCOM mixed with a JRPG. So yeah, pretty amazing. 2 big thumbs up. Also, on a side note, I cannot wait to get revenge on Cody Cunningham for that devastating defeat last year. breaking my undefeated streak against him. So yeah, coming after you, man. Better watch out. So I finally got to drive on real roads today. It's not as scary as I thought it would be, driving around with other people in real situations. The good thing is I only drove to the mall and to Safeway, which the routes are pretty much through neighborhoods, 30 miles an hour, real easy turns. Not too much traffic. I would say like 70% of the time there was no one in front or behind me, which is always nice. Lots of stop signs, so it keeps you in check. So driving, it's not that scary as I thought it would be. Especially since I got driving a Subaru, which surprisingly easy to handle. Not too bad. I give driving 1.5 Batista thumbs up. You should check it out sometime if you have a chance. Alright, for our last topic of the day, WWE NXT, which, while technically not the flagship show is why it should be the flagship show. Consistently good wrestling, good storylines. These guys speak pretty well, do promos great. Always a good show. I maybe skip one match per NXT, but that's to be expected with any wrestling show, really. So first up, the Ascension squashed some local jobbers, which, once again, always fun to see. They are so athletic for being so big, and their look is just great. I'm not really sure how to rate their promo skills. I haven't listened enough to them, but it sounds like they can hold their own, at the very least in NXT, which means they will be able to hold their own on the main roster. The next NXT pay-per-view will feature a fatal four-way match between Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville, the champion, Tyson Kidd, and Tyler Breeze. I'm already saying it, I'm going to say it now, Match of the Year contender. This is Match of the Year written all over it. I've actually been surprised as how Tyler Breeze has been able to hold his own against these three high flyers. It's gonna be great, I can't wait for it. September 11th, NXT. TakeOver 2, I think? I'm not sure, I really don't care, their names are stupid. But NXT pay-per-view, September 11th. Watch it. Exclusively on the WWE Network. $9.99 a month. How can you pass that fantastic up? Sasha Banks versus Bayley. Real good match. Not even just saying especially for divas. Like, it was a good match. It was a solid TV match. Bayley, I'm surprised at how well she has improved over the past year or so. And Sasha Banks is just an incredible heel. She's everything you want a heel to be, and definitely would be a boost to the main roster. My only worry would be that she might get crapped on the main roster. So, see how that goes when that happens, but I have high hopes for her to slip right into the heel spot. And Bayley will be a legitimate women's champion if she does indeed defeat Charlotte at the NXT pay-per-view. It'll be a great match. Hopefully they give them 10 to 12 minutes. That'll be solid. It's probably gonna be women's match of the year. There were a few AJ Page matches that were good, but I think this one, being NXT, they'll be given more time. So I'm gonna say women's match of the year, unless something better happens at the next pay-per-view after the September one. And also, all three women wrestlers that I mentioned, they can hold their own doing promos on the mic, which, I'll just say it, the main roster divas suck. They absolutely are horrendous at it. I mean, AJ is good, Paige is good, but other than that, they suck. Don't even mention those airbags, and by that I mean all of them. Besides AJ and Paige, and maybe Alicia Fox, she's pretty good too. Going psycho, and then they stop her being psycho and she's off TV because logic. And to end the show for NXT, not this show, it was Neville and Sami Zayn versus Tyler Breeze and Tyson Kidd. Pretty good match. I liked it. Okay. No, I didn't watch it. Sorry. I need to watch it. I'll go watch it right now and report back to you. Okay, I'm back. I watch it. Scout's Honor. I watch it. I really like how Sami Zayn looked completely dominant at the end of the match. And by that I mean after the match ended, he was the last man standing. He hit Neville on accident, which cost him the victory, and then he went and laid out Tyson Kidd. And before he kicked Neville, I think he did some... Oh, he hit the Blue Thunder Bomb on Tyler Breeze, so he actually took all three of them out. So, my man, Sami Zayn, standing strong. Feel good about his chances for being NXT champion. I think it will happen. Hopeful. Be good. It's a pretty good match. One Batista thumbs up, just because it's typical. It's a fatal 4-way, so you get the two heels versus the two faces in a tag match before they square off. Typical stuff, but good match. Good NXT overall. 1.5 Batista thumbs for NXT. If my ratings don't seem accurate, that's because you're wrong. They are accurate. Alright, one last real quick topic before I end this show. I tried Mexican Pepsi real sugar. Now the Pepsi I reviewed last show was American made with sugar. This is Mexican made with sugar. And I can actually tell the difference. It's lighter tasting, it has a better finish. It's hard to describe, but it's just better. I'm not sure what the difference is, ingredients wise, brewing wise. But something down in Mexico makes the Pepsi taste better, in my opinion. Still not as good as Coke, but if Pepsi's the only choice you got for Mexican brews, then that's not so bad. Unless you can get Sprite. Sprite beats all. That'll be my next review. Some Mexican Sprite. I have not tried it yet, but I assume it'll be amazing. So that'll do it for this episode. Real good episode. I think it's the best one so far. There's only 3. That's definitely in the top 3. So, take that with what you will. Questions, concerns, complaints, comments, throw them down in the comments. Give me a like, subscribe, or don't. You control the future. I'm out of here. I get to edit this thing now, so bye. And thanks for listening. See you next time on the Triple Stick Shooter Podcast.